A man found a beached killer whale, and then something unbelievable happened. This incident near Argentina's Mar Chiquita coast shocked those on the shore. At first, no one understood what was happening, but soon, the surprise of the events left everyone frozen. As the end of summer approached and the crowds on the beaches began to thin, something extraordinary happened on a calm day in late August. Suddenly, a loud scream pierced the air, sending people running toward the source of the sound. At first, they thought they had spotted a massive fish in the water. But as they got closer, it quickly became apparent that what they were seeing was no fish at all. It was an orca, a type of killer whale, stranded on the shore. People were in shock. It was an unprecedented sight to see an orca so close to the shore. The lifeguards quickly called the Coast Guard, urgently requesting assistance. The killer whale lay still, stranded in the sand, its massive body completely out of place. No one could understand how the orca had ended up there. The idea of such a heavy, aquatic creature reaching the shore on its own seemed impossible. Without the buoyancy of water, it was unthinkable that it could have come this far. The orca had likely been swept ashore by the waves and was now stranded, unable to move. As the Coast Guard team approached, they immediately checked for any visible wounds or injuries. They then contacted environmental and wildlife protection officials. Soon after, veterinarians and diver teams were swiftly sent to the scene to assess the situation and provide the necessary assistance. It was urgent to return the orca to the depths of the water, to its home. Despite being the end of summer, the weather was quite warm, and it was the sunniest part of the day. The orca couldn't withstand the scorching sun for long. The people on the beach joined the veterinarians in their efforts. They began wetting towels and cloths to cover the whale. This way, they could at least provide some protection from the sun's harsh rays. The poor orca felt a bit of relief from this assistance. It had no choice but to lie there, exhausted and drained. The orca had helplessly accepted the help of the people. Even as new adults, orcas are very large and heavy animals. Therefore, the initial plan was to roll the orca towards the sea. However, this task required quite strong individuals. The strongest 8 to 10 people from the beach and the rescue team were called to action. They also had to be very careful while rolling the orca. The sharp rocks along the shore could pose a risk due to friction. Additionally, the position in which the orca was stranded was challenging. It was wedged in vertically rather than parallel to the sea. They needed to first turn the orca on its side towards the water. They began the first intervention and tried to gently roll the orca onto its side. Despite their careful efforts, the orca started to feel pain from the rocks. The poor creature began to scream in agony. No matter how much it hurt, it had to endure a little longer. Once the orca was in a more level position, they could start pushing it toward the sea. From this point on, things became a bit easier. All they had to do now was roll the orca straight into the water. Together, they counted 3, 2, 1, and, with a collective effort, began rolling the orca toward the sea. After a few moments, the orca stopped its loud vocalizations and lay still, no longer resisting the men. They repeated the maneuver several times, and as the water finally reached the orca's body, it began to flick its tail and make swimming motions. They were so close, freedom was within reach. Everyone was giving their all to push the massive orca, and though they were exhausted, they refused to give up. Together, they continued to roll the orca toward the water with unwavering determination. Finally, as the rising tide reached the orca's body, it began to stir, attempting to swim. The team stepped back, allowing the orca space to maneuver and regain its freedom. At that moment, the orca suddenly sprang to life. It entered the water and allowed its body to sink back into the sea, finally freed from the sand. Though exhausted, it began to swim with an undeniable sense of joy and relief. The rescue operation, which had lasted about an hour and a half, had been a success. The orca was now safe, returning to its natural habitat. What an incredible story! If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment below. See you in the next video.